Of this amount, approximately 7.5 million was spent on the period between 2006 and the withdrawal of the charges against the former president in 2009. An amount of 7.8 million has been spent since 2009. This stems from a request by the former president, which he made in 2006 for legal representation at state expense in respect of the criminal proceedings. The request was approved by the presidency based on advice by the State Attorney's Office and the Department of Justice and Constitutional Development as it then was. The former president signed an undertaking to refund the state if he was found to have acted in his personal capacity and own interests in the commission of the offenses with which he was charged. This administration is guided by the fundamental principle that public money should not be used to cover the legal expenses of individuals on strictly personal matters and who are found to have committed criminal offenses. I thank you.
The Honorable Malema.
Thank you very much, President. I had pressed earlier to speak about the land, and unfortunately I was not recognized. But I'm happy that you acknowledge the good work of our Mayor Mashaba, the Mayor of the EFF, who's doing a wonderful job for the EFF in the Joe municipality. And that these people are going to continue losing all the time when they speak against the land, because they've already lost a metro because of the land. Now, Mr. President, I want to check, which law were you relying on when you paid these monies? Because the law that most of your people refer to is actually not that clear as to whether the state can pay for such offenses. And since now the president has lost the spy tapes, with that agreement, are you now saying, is he going to pay from his personal coffers? But also the amount you are pointing at, we don't think that it includes cases like the Nkandla case, cases like the public protector's case, which the court was very clear that he must pay from his personal pocket, and he's appealing that. So if you are to take almost all these cases, that amount will not be accurate, because in our own calculations, we are sitting at almost 64 million, which has been paid for legal costs of the former president, the delinquent himself, who you kept and is still campaigning for you, creating an impression that there are two presidents in your ruling party. So we are saying to you that you removed him because you thought this guy was not good enough. He has cost us a lot of money as the state, yet he's good enough to campaign for your beautiful face. Because now he's carrying your placard. You must be ashamed that such a person who has costed the state so much money because of personal reasons and avoiding to go to prison, he still goes around carrying your poster the same way as Ketane Matang, working with you. You are so proud to walk with delinquents around you and claim to be clean.
Honorable President.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. The amounts that have been collated are the amounts that the Department of Justice and Correctional Services has been able to collect up to now Honorable Malema is quoting amounts of 64 million. I am not aware of that. We have been using the agreement, Honorable Speaker and Honorable Malema, the agreement that was struck between former President Jacob Zuma and the government as this instrument that has enabled the government to help pay the money on the understanding, as the agreement clearly states, that the money will be paid back if he is found to have been personally responsible for these acts. Now, that was an agreement that was struck. Now, we also need to make a distinction between the payment, the various legal cases that have been going on, to which he has appealed. He has appealed against certain cases where legal costs have been involved, and those need to be separated from the ones that we are talking about now. The ones that we've spoken about being 15 million, having divided them into two categories. So those are the ones that we have deeper knowledge of, and the instrument which you asked, which instrument did we use? We used the agreement, and clearly it is. I will need to check that more closely. I will need to do that. This is not the first time that this has been done. It has been done before for other officials, and indeed, because you see, the acts that former President Zuma was charged with, he was charged with acts that arose as he was occupying a government position. Yes, it was. No, it was not before. It was as a result of conduct that had to do with him occupying a government position. And in that regard, yes, there is a practice that those who are charged for activities, be they criminal or otherwise, and this agreement covers that. The agreement covers that. For those who are charged, the government will cover that. And when the court finally, and this is important, because our judiciary is so independent that it does, even in the end, make a determination on the payment of costs, of legal costs. So once these matters are finalized, the court will be able to make a determination. And in this regard, they will even have line of sight of this agreement that has been reached. And I'm sure that when they do make a determination on the basis of the outcome of the case, they will be able to determine how those legal costs should be dealt with. Right now, because the agreement is still in place, there's just no way in which we could right now say to President Zuma, in violation of the agreement that was reached, that he must pay the costs. And I know that it would be exciting on many people's minds that he must pay back the costs, but we have to wait until that case is finalized and a determination is made by court. We did it on the basis of an agreement. Thank you very much.
The Honorable Alberts.
Speaker.
No, you can't have two opportunities, Honorable Malema.
Not answered.
No, Honorable Malema, take your seat.
That's where we have a problem, because my question is not answered.
No, Honorable Malema.
I've written a question to the President about which policy was he following.
Honorable Malema, the President has responded to you.
No, he says to me,
he has told you that he has to check on that.
But this was a written question to him long before he came here. It's here. He should have checked before he comes here. Now he says to me,
take your seat, Honorable Malema.
When I've written a question to him, what is the purpose of writing a question?
Honorable Malema, take your seat.
But my question is not answered, Speaker. What is the purpose of this exercise? Are we going back to a situation
You are allowed to pursue that issue outside of this sitting right now.
Where will I see this guy? I can't see him anywhere. Where will I find him?
We have to proceed to Honorable
I will look for you in
Alberts.
Sundays.
The Honorable Alberts